Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is me, your host Aiza Freelancing Wali, and I am a level 1 student at Rahan School in Islamabad campus. So viewers, everyone. Welcome everyone. Today we have the honor of speaking with the brilliant Paul Bowen, a philosophy scholar from Yale University, and get ready for an inspiring journey into the world of ideas and wisdom and deep thinking. So, hello, how are you?
Hello. I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Please introduce yourself.
Yes, my name is Paul Bowen. I am 81 years old. I have two children, both grown up. I am married, and I have one grandchild. Uh, I live in Denver, Colorado, which is in the southwest of the United States. And I have a degree in philosophy, a PhD in philosophy from Yale University. I'm now retired. I'm not at Yale at the present time. Uh, that was where I got my degree, and I have taught at the University of Cincinnati and Brown University. But I'm now retired. Uh, and let's see, I guess that's basically it.
Okay,
That's
so
my
sir, my next question is from you. Please tell me what inspired you to study philosophy.
Yes. Well, I think I always sort of wanted to study philosophy, except that I didn't know exactly what it was. But when I was an undergraduate, when I was in college at Amherst College, I got a chance to take a philosophy course. I had to take some course, there was an empty spot. Uh, and so I didn't really know what philosophy was, but I thought maybe it was some kind of psychology. But I signed up for it, and when I actually took the course, I was very inspired by it. And in particular, I was inspired by uh, how they did rigorous logic uh, and thought very carefully. The teacher showed us how to think very carefully about things. And in particular, there was a logical device that they had called a truth table. I won't describe that to you, but this thing really inspired me to think about logic in a different way. Uh, so I think that was an important moment in my desiring to learn philosophy. That's my answer.
Oh, amazing insight. So, my next question is from you. Please tell me which philosopher influenced you the most, and why?
Well, I think the British philosopher Bertrand Russell was the one that had the greatest influence on me. It's not that I agree with him about everything, but I did for a while. But I change my views from time to time. But I think this philosopher Bertrand Russell was a very great influence on me in my early years, and he he was, as I say, a British philosopher, and he also wrote books to help people understand their life, as well as some technical philosophy. And he was a very rigorous thinker, and he wrote very clearly, and those things allowed him to have a very great influence on me. That's my answer.
Oh, thank you so much. Truly inspiring answer. So, my next question is from you. Please tell me, how do you define the meaning of life from a philosophical perspective?
The meaning of life. Well, I think the meaning of life is is to flourish. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, um, to flourish in English means it means to do well, to do very well. But exactly what does it take to do well? Okay, that's the question I try to answer, and my short answer is that you are doing well, you are flourishing when you are successfully doing things that use your abilities, that require your abilities to do, and you think these things are worth doing. Uh, so when you're like that, you are flourishing. For example, you might have a job to do, and you think, yes, this job is very important, but it also challenges you somewhat, so that you have to use lots of your abilities to to accomplish it. So that would be a case of flourishing, which, and I think, as I said, the meaning of life is to flourish. So that's my answer.
Oh, very profound answer. So, my next question.
Oh, I've lost your sound. I've lost your sound.
Sir, my question is, what role does ethics play in everyday decision making?
Okay. Uh, well, it depends on the person. Some people, ethics makes a big difference to them. Other people, not so much, unfortunately. Uh, I think the basic the basic purpose of ethics is to give us a way to behave that we share. And if we behave in this way, everybody flourishes. Okay, and everybody flourishes about the same amount. So I call that egalitarian flourishing over time, where everybody is flourishing as much as possible, and everybody is flourishing about the same amount. You have to balance those two things off. And what over time means is that this keeps happening. It's permanent, we hope. Uh, so a good morality is a morality which, when people adopt it, will help them to have egalitarian flourishing over time. Uh, that's what morality, in my opinion, that's what morality is supposed to do. So that's my answer.
Okay, so very enlightening. So, my next question is from you. Can you explain the importance of critical thinking in modern society?
Yeah, I think critical thinking is very important, especially in a democracy, uh, because you're actually supposed to make decisions with your vote in a democracy. But in any event, it's always good to have critical thinking. Now, critical thinking means that you don't just accept something that somebody tells you or that you read in a book. You think about it and say, is there good evidence for this? Is there better evidence for this than for something else? Uh, and you have an understanding of logic and what constitutes good evidence, and you apply that. So you don't just accept things. And I think this is very important, because if you can't think critically, people will attempt to manipulate you, okay, through your emotions. They will miss. Unfortunately, there are people who will attempt to manipulate you in that way. You need to be able to distinguish when a person is doing that. And the way to distinguish it is to ask them, well, what's your evidence? And if they can't give you good evidence for what they're asking you to believe, then you shouldn't believe it. You should not believe things unless there is good evidence uh, in favor of them. So I think that's the main importance of critical thinking in society, that it helps you not to be fooled by people who want to manipulate you. So that's my answer.
Oh, thank you so much for your nice answer. So, my next question is from you. Please tell me, how does philosophy help us understand human emotions? Please give me answer.
Well, in a way, I think that's more a question for psychology. Psychology is the science that studies human emotions. So just to understand human emotions is really something that a psychologist would act. But a philosopher would ask, uh, what is good and bad about emotions? Okay. For example, sometimes anger leads us to do things that are not so good, right? So a philosopher would say, be very, very careful with anger. And in general, science tells us how things are, but a great deal of philosophy is trying to tell us how things ought to be. Okay. So when it comes to emotions, the philosopher doesn't ask so much how they are as, well, how should they be? Can you discipline your emotions? Many people have said you can discipline your emotions and improve your emotional life that way. So this is a value judgment. Philosophers, scientists try to avoid value judgments, but philosophers accept them. So uh, that's how I think a philosopher would approach emotions is by asking, well, what emotions are healthy? What emotions are good for us? That kind of question. That's my answer.
Okay, so beautiful. So, beautiful answer. So, my next question is from you. Please tell me, which philosophical questions do you find most challenging?
Hmm. I think right now, today, one of the most challenging questions is the nature of consciousness, what it means to be conscious, and in particular, um, what we call qualia. Now, what that means is, let's say you see a bright light, okay, but sometimes we have a hallucination. There is no bright light, but you seem to see a bright light. So there's some people say, well, there's this thing, the qualia, which is white, and it's somehow inside your mind. Okay, but there are problems with this idea, and and yet it's very intuitive that we have images inside our mind, and so this question is up in the air. It hasn't been decided. People are still arguing about it, and I personally, I have not made up my mind on this question. It's too difficult for me. I think about it from time to time, but so far I I haven't found an answer that satisfies me. So that's the question of consciousness, uh, and how consciousness works, and especially about qualia. That's a very, very challenging question right now. So that's my answer.
Okay, thank you so much for your nice answer. So, my next question is from you. Please tell me, how do you connect classical philosophy with contemporary issue?
Ah, well, I guess the thing is, what you do is you read the classical philosophers, and then you make up your own mind. Okay. So, and of course, you read modern philosophers also. Uh, but then you shouldn't believe something just because some ancient philosopher said it, even if he's very famous. This goes back to critical thinking. That applies to philosophy as well. You should think critically about the philosophers of the past and what they had to say. Uh, and then you make up your mind. But when I say make up your mind, I mean you tentatively make up your mind. You never really, you should always be open to the change your mind. Okay. Uh, so maybe make up your mind isn't quite the right word, but let's say you adopt a position for the time being. Uh, so you know that the philosophers of the past were very smart, but they're not necessarily right about everything. So it's good to study them to stimulate your own thinking, but you should not use them as authorities that you must believe. That's my answer.
So you give me very highly motivated answer. So my next question is from you. What advice would you give to students who want to study philosophy?
Well, I think I'd say go ahead. I think it's important to study at least a little philosophy. I sometimes say philosophy is the most important study because philosophy asks questions like, what should we do? Okay. So you may have all kinds of power. Maybe you know how to operate very powerful machines and and you have lots of political power, you have lots of money, but what are you going to do with all this stuff? Okay, what what should you do with it? And if you come to the end of your life and then you suddenly realize you've been using all this power for the wrong thing, that would be very sad. So the question, what should we do, is a philosophical question. It's not a scientific question. And so I would say go ahead, study philosophy. It's a good idea. Uh, it doesn't necessarily get you a job as well as some other subjects would, but it's actually very helpful, especially if you're going into law or something like that. And if you're a lawyer, then you have to be able to reason and make a case and give evidence, right? If you go to court. Uh, and so law schools will accept. It will be a plus on your record as far as acceptance to a law school that you have had some philosophy courses, especially those that relate to logic. So I guess that's my answer.
Okay, so thank you so much for your amazing answer. I'm shocked. So my next question is from you. Please tell me, how does philosophy influence leadership and decisions making?
Well, the influence of philosophy is actually very powerful, but it takes time, and usually philosophy suggests general principles. So if I were talking to a politician who had some specific decisions to make, as a philosopher, I might not be particularly useful to them because they have specialized knowledge. I hope they do. Uh, but for example, in the development of democracy, there have been philosophers who were very important, and they did not make decisions about politics, but they influenced the way politicians think. Okay, so their influence is very indirect, but it's also very powerful. Some philosophers have had things to say about politics that were very, very influential on actual politicians. And often politicians don't realize that they are thinking the way they do because some philosopher worked it out, maybe some time ago. But it is true that these philosophical ideas sort of come down and influence particular events very strongly. So, so in that sense, it's very, very influential on leadership and decision making. And I hope that it's a force for logic and rationality um, uh, in politics and leadership. And decision making, and it will teach you to be clear and to reason well. And I would hope that our leaders can think clearly and reason well. Yeah, I hope so. So I recommend they all take some philosophy courses because I think help their ability to to do that. So that's my answer.
Okay, thank you so much. So my next question is from you. Please tell me, how do you approach solving philosophical dilemmas?
What is my favorite branch of philosophy? Uh, well, this has changed for me. But right now, what I'm interested in is social philosophy, or sometimes called political philosophy. But this branch of philosophy asks the question: is what should society be like? What makes one society better than another? Uh, which is, part of the question: what should we do? Which is the very fundamental question of life, I think. Uh, and so political and social philosophers ask ask this question: what is the ideal society, and what makes one society better than another? You some philosophers think, oh, every culture is true for itself, and you can't compare them. But I disagree with that. And so 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 it is now. I guess my favorite branch of philosophy is social and political philosophy, where you ask, what should society be like, or what makes one society better than another? And that's my answer.
Okay, so thank you so much. So my next question is from you. Please tell me, can philosophy help us live a happier life?
Uh, say that again, please.
Yes. My question is, can philosophy help us live a happier life?
Well, that's a good question. Uh, some philosophers have been very pessimistic. They think life is not very good. So it might make you very unhappy. It might make you very unhappy if you are convinced by this kind of philosophy. I am not one of them. I think life is a very good thing, and we can make it better by changing the way we act. Um, and A lot of philosophy is concerned with this question. What's called the phrase is the good life. What is the good life? And what it means is what makes one style of life better than another. And of course, the thing I mentioned before, what is the good society? I think if you're in a better society, you're likely to be happier. And if you're living the good life, you're more likely to be happy. Although that's a little touchy. Sometimes people feel it's good not to know too much, because then you see the dark side of life. But I think there's also a bright side of life, and I would rather focus on how we can make life better instead of saying, "Oh, how terrible life is." Well, that doesn't help, does it? Right? so yes, I think philosophy can help you to live a happier life. So that's my answer.
Okay, sir. So please give me last advice for my audience.
Say that again, please.
Please give me last advice for my audience.
Oh, advice. All right. Uh, yes. Here, this is what my advice would be. My advice is that you should live in such a way that you will make the world would be a better place than it would otherwise have been because of you. Okay, make the world as good a world as you can. Uh, and I always ask yourself, am I is what I'm doing now, is that going to make the world a better place than it would otherwise have been? So that's my advice.
Oh, thank you so much, Paul. So, sir, thank you so much, Paul, sir, for sharing your incredible wisdom and insights. Your words inspire us to think deeper life and better and embrace the beauty of knowledge. Until next time, keep questioning and keep learning and keep shining. Thank you so much for joining us, my show.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been an honor. Uh, and so I thank you very much. Have a great time. Have a great life.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for your precious time. Allah Hafiz.